My dad forgot to hang up and called me a burden who should have never been born. I stayed quiet, sold my $870,000 home, and vanished. They returned from their vacation to an empty house and a note, "Surprise, this is what a burden can do." Hey everyone. Before we kick off today's video, I've got a favor to ask. We've noticed our channel isn't getting as much love lately, and subscribing is one of the easiest ways you can help us out. It's quick, free, and it means we can keep bringing you awesome content. Your support really means a lot, so let's work together to keep this channel growing. Thanks a bunch. Now, let's dive into the video. So, my dad kinda left his phone hanging and didn't hang up. That's where it all kicked off. I wasn't meant to hear any of it. I had called him to chat about some car title papers. No big deal, just another task I usually handled for him. He said he'd dig through a folder in the garage and put the phone down but didn't actually hang up. Just left it on the coffee table, probably didn't even notice. At first, it was just silence, then footsteps, a couch creaked, and there was his voice. "She's a burden," he said, like it was just stating something obvious. "She's a disappointment. Should have never been born." I didn't move at first, just sat there with the phone stuck to my ear like a kid trying to eavesdrop through a door. He wasn't mad or anything, that's what really got me. No yelling, no venting. Just straight up talking to my mom, or maybe to himself. Didn't matter. The words hit just as hard. A burden, a disappointment. For 6 years, I'd been quietly covering their mortgage shortfalls, credit card debts, utility bills, all without asking for anything in return or ever bringing it up. Even that month, I had sent $2,100 to cover their insurance cause my dad's back injury had him out of work. And yet, here I was, the burden, the so-called accident that should have been avoided. I didn't end the call, I just let it go on until they realized it was still connected. Heard the microwave beep, some laughter in the background. Just their usual peaceful day, as if they hadn't just gutted me with their words. When the call finally cut off, maybe he noticed, or the battery died, I didn't cry or speak or even move. Just stared at the window, hoping it had some answers. No idea how long I was stuck like that. Time felt weird when everything inside just stops. The next day, I went to the bank, not planning revenge, not yet. Just checking the scene. My luxury property's mortgage was almost paid off, last valued at $870,000. I had options, and a quiet power no one else knew about. I set up a meeting with my real estate lawyer to talk transfer options, title shifts, privacy stuff. Didn't even blink when he told me how much I'd make from a private cash sale. Felt like I was putting together a machine I didn't quite get yet, but I knew I had to finish it. Didn't tell anyone, no friends, no coworkers, definitely not my family. Just kept on working, smiling at neighbors, sending my parents the usual "have a great trip" text as they jetted off to Europe, a trip I helped finance after they refinanced the house last fall. I packed up everything, super quietly and efficiently. Sold the house, switched the deed, set new forwarding addresses, and disappeared. Let them enjoy Rome, sipping wine in Lisbon, posing by the Eiffel Tower, until they couldn't unlock the door. Until they saw my sticky note, "Surprise, this is what a burden can do." At first, I didn't see myself as useful. That realization came later. First, I was just the responsible one, the planner, the fixer, the daughter who always remembered everything, bills, birthdays, deadlines, made her own way without asking for help. I thought that was enough. They never directly asked for much, at least not in the beginning. It started with things like, "Your dad's back is acting up, could you cover the water bill this month? Or can you help with your brother's tuition deadline? We'll pay you back, of course." But they never did, and eventually stopped pretending. When they needed $1,800 for windows after a storm, I sent it. When their car broke down, I covered repairs. When property taxes were overdue and my mom cried on the phone, I wired the money the same day. No questions, just support. Then came the joint accounts, a family card for emergencies only, my name temporarily on their mortgage to help with refinancing. Then I noticed my credit score dipping, slowly but surely, like a bruise spreading. I confronted them about a weird charge from a luxury furniture store. My dad just laughed, "We thought you wouldn't mind, you don't spend on yourself anyway." My mom said it was for the house. "It's yours too, technically." When my uncle had surgery, I paid half the hospital bill without being asked. They just sent the bill, expecting I'd deal with it. I did. When my sister needed a venue deposit for her wedding, they called it a family gift from me. That wasn't even a conversation, just a $6,700 charge that popped up on my bank app at 3 a.m. I stared at the number and told myself it was fine because they'd do the same for me, right? But nope. No one ever did help when I moved twice in 3 years, and not a single person lifted a box. Like, when I got bronchitis and asked my mom if she could bring me some soup, she was like, "I'm too tired from yoga." And on my birthday? All I got was a text with a glitter cupcake emoji and I hope it's a good one. No call, no visit. But when their birthdays came around, I had to show up with flowers, gifts, and dinner reservations. One time I forgot, and my mom gave me the silent treatment for 3 weeks. I kept telling myself it wasn't worth fighting over, that people just show they care in different ways, and maybe I wasn't being generous enough. So, I gave more, worked harder, and made sure there was always enough in the account. I did the math, and it was $2,100 a month for 6 years. That's $151,200. But I never thought about it like that until one day. I overheard them saying I was a burden, not just forgotten or taken for granted, but an actual burden. I replayed that moment every night for a week. I heard the clink of my dad's coffee mug, the rustle of his newspaper, and my mom agreeing, saying they should have sent me away at 18. Meanwhile, they were planning a trip to Europe while I was paying for a rental apartment in cash, just to transfer the property deed without a fuss. I kept every email, every wire confirmation, every screenshot. My dream home was now empty, all the furniture donated, all accounts closed, my name off every shared account. I hadn't told them yet because I wanted them to feel it. And that moment came sooner than I expected. A week later, my sister texted me, asking if I was still covering mom's therapy this month. No hi or how are you, just the same assumption, same entitlement. I replied, of course, then canceled the payment permanently. That weekend, they posted photos from Paris. My dad was smiling under the Eiffel Tower, my mom in a beret holding wine, captioned, "Still living the dream." I watched the video twice, saw the glint of the ring on my mom's finger, the one I bought them for their 35th anniversary. They never said, "Thank you." They just wore it like it was always theirs. I logged out and didn't check again. The final transfer had gone through, and the new owners of my property had the keys. I left nothing behind, not a single photo, a fork, or even a coat hanger. Just a sticky note on the front door, "Surprise." Because I wasn't their bank anymore. I wasn't their fixer. I wasn't even family. I was the storm they never saw coming. They got back from Europe on a Thursday. I'd been tracking their return like a meteorologist watches a storm, not with fear but with quiet precision. Their last Instagram post was a boomerang of wine glasses clinking under Venetian chandeliers, captioned "Family first." Always. I didn't even flinch. The house was already gone, but they didn't know that yet. They landed smiling and sunburned, wheeling their matching luggage through customs, thinking everything was just as they left it. Except, the driveway was empty, no car, no lights, and when they pulled out their keys, they didn't fit. I pictured it all in full color, my dad frowning at the lock, jiggling it like that would change anything. My mom trying hers next, then both standing there in silence until they saw the sticky note taped to the front door. Yellow, cheap, unmistakable. Black Sharpie letters, "Surprise." That's what a burden can do. I didn't leave my name. Didn't need to. The mailbox was gone, the alarm system was off, utilities transferred, and the family portrait's gone. I even donated their home as where the heart is sign. Everything was clean, sterile, like they'd never lived there. Like I'd erased their comfort while they were busy sipping Bordeaux and playing European royalty. And I didn't do it to punish them, that would imply emotion. I did it because clarity had finally arrived. I wasn't seeking revenge, I was just closing a chapter that had ended long ago. They called, of course, dozens of times. At first, confused, "Hey, we're locked out, can you check with the alarm company?" Then, panicked, "Why isn't the Wi-Fi working?" ? Quote, "Why is your number disconnected?" I didn't answer. By midnight, they'd called every sibling, every cousin, thinking maybe it was a mistake, a robbery, or a prank. But then my mom called my work number, the one no one uses, and left a voicemail with her voice just like broken glass. "Hey, so here's the scoop. We need to chat about something serious. I'm hanging out at a hotel right now because the house is empty. Our neighbor mentioned a moving truck showed up last week. Was that you guys? Did something go down?" "Yeah, something definitely happened. I still have that voicemail you left, the one where you called me a burden. I play it back sometimes, not because it makes me happy, but as a reminder. Even after you drained my bank account and erased me from family stuff, you still expected me to help. That's what finally broke me. No matter how much I gave, paying bills, remembering birthdays, I realized I'd always be just optional, useful, expendable. You guys freaked out more when the money was gone, not when I was. I gave you 6 years of loyalty, and all I got was silence and expectations. You treated me like a burden, a disappointment, an accident that just hung around. So, I left you with what you deserved, nothing. The fallout was instant. By 7:13 the next morning, I had 42 missed calls. My mom left 3 voicemails, each one more desperate than the last: confusion, then panic, then a total meltdown. We just need to talk. What did you do? I didn't reply. Instead, I shut down the joint savings account, mostly filled with my money, transferring $12,000 to a private trust. Closed it. Gone. Then, I canceled the house insurance since it was still in my name. I watched for the confirmation email like it was a final release. One more tie severed. That afternoon, Dad emailed me some long, sad message, half blame, half pleading. Said I misunderstood the whole burden thing, that it wasn't about me. Then he asked for help finding a lawyer about the house situation because they got locked out illegally. I almost laughed. They didn't even realize the house hadn't been in their names for over a year. It was all under a trust I set up with my accountant. Untouchable. On day 3, my sister jumped in, texting, "You really going to do this to Mom and Dad? After everything they've done?" Everything? Like the dinners I wasn't invited to, the holidays I funded but watched from home, the therapy I paid for so Mom could deal with stress I supposedly caused? I didn't respond. Instead, I filed the estate planning documents that cut them out of everything: emergency contacts, asset designations, all of it. By Monday, it was all locked down. I called the storage unit I'd been paying for, full of their keepsakes. Gave them 30 days notice, no extensions. I sold the furniture I bought for them, even that fancy coffee machine they liked. Listed everything online, sold it all, and transferred the money to myself. No notes, just peace. Our group chat finally went quiet. No more backhanded jokes or guilt trips disguised as memes. Just silence. Mom's last Facebook post was an old picture of us when I was 8, with the caption ending in "You always were so sensitive." That didn't hurt, it confirmed everything. I wasn't sensitive, I was done. They never got the last sticky note back. They tried, rolling up with a locksmith 3 days later, but by then, it was too late. So, the locks on the house got changed, the mailbox was gone, and everything about who owned the place was buried under a pile of corporate paperwork that no one could figure out, even if they wanted to. The locksmith wouldn't break in, saying the deed wasn't in the right name. They just stood there quietly, knowing there was nothing they could do. I was there too, sitting in my car just a couple of blocks away, parked under this old, sad-looking elm tree. They didn't spot me as I watched my mom and dad step out of their Uber, looking like they were royalty coming back to a kingdom that had shut its gates. My dad seemed older, shrunken almost, and my mom was just silent, staring at the door as if it might magically open for them. Spoiler, it didn't. After about 10 minutes, they left, and the house stayed quiet. I just stood there, too. That silence was the big finale. No dramatic showdown or driveway arguments about family or forgiveness. Just the cold truth that they'd lost everything that kept them afloat, and it wasn't me they missed, it was the money. They cried because their safety net was gone, and they were stuck without a backup plan. I had been their plan all along. So I made sure they felt the gap left behind. I ditched the family group chats, unlinked from every shared album or schedule I was somehow included in without even being invited. Didn't leave a single message, just ghosted them completely. A few days later, some letter came in, not handwritten, just a piece of paper from some paralegal about misunderstandings and estate stuff. I didn't even bother opening it. Just shredded it and went back to my tea. 2 days after that, my old neighbor texted me saying my parents showed up again, looking lost. They stood there in disbelief, like they didn't see this coming, like they didn't earn it. Blocked that number, too. They stopped trying after the second week when reality hit. My sister tried reaching out from a different number, asking if I was really never going to talk to them again. No hi, no apology, just shocked that I could exist without them. I didn't bother replying. Instead, I went for a walk, breathing in the cool, rainy air. Passed by all these places I used to run errands for them, the pharmacy, the bakery, now just ordinary buildings with no emotional baggage attached. There's this thing about being the quiet, helpful one. People assume you'll keep at it forever. They think silence means you're okay with everything. But no, sometimes silence is about biding your time. Now they're in this shabby condo at the edge of town, and I sometimes wonder if they look out and think about how things got to this point. On social media, things have changed, too. My mom used to flood her feed with happy family pictures, but now it's just shared quotes about not burning bridges. Little do they know, The bridge was never theirs to begin with. They were just hanging out while I did the heavy lifting until I walked away and everything crumbled. My bank account is looking healthier now with no sneaky withdrawals or autopays for things I didn't use. The money I used to send out like blood from a weak heart is finally building up. I've moved into my own space, not too big, not too loud, just mine. Every single thing chosen by me, guilt-free. No more waking up with anxiety about whether I forgot to transfer money or if someone's mad at me for saying no. Even when the ghosts of past accusations linger, I don't engage. I just remember that house, now mine, with the silence that's mine too. And then, I simply go back to enjoying my peace.